Got a special treat for you today. We got two Strat refrets in, and both of them are going to have compound radius fingerboards. Both of them are going to have compensated nuts. And for Chris in New York, Garrett in Ventura, California, Don in Hesperia, California, and Doug in Toronto, all of these guys recently got their fretting kits. I want to bring you in and explain something. Before we go over to the fretting kit and we look at the tools that I send in that kit, I need to explain one of the most popular misunderstandings when it comes to fretwork. I want to show you this 1-inch block of aluminum. You can see the mill marks. This has been milled dead flat. Now we're going to hold this up against the curvature of the fingerboard so I can explain exactly why I use a much narrower file. So let's go over and have a look at the radius against this milled edge. This is the width of the file that you get in your kits. This is the width of contact surface on the crown of the fret for these frets that we're about to replace. But before we pull them out, I want to talk about this a little bit. I have a 1 thou feeler gauge, so when I slip that under there, that's how far it goes. When I come from the other side, this is how far it goes. That is the width of contact. So the actual width is approximately 439 thou. That's 1 thou feeler gauge. So if we went even smaller than 1 thou, that may be reduced to 200. Now let's have a look at the width of the leading edge of the files that I've been making up for my students for like 25 years. Let's take a look. And the width of that leading edge is, well, it's pretty well the same as the measurement that we just took. But let's bring that up. Have a look at this. So on a fresh set of frets, the actual contact surface is like a pencil line. So the point I'm trying to make is that a 1-inch file will give you less control, not more control. You've heard me say 100 times that you need to move obliquely across the fret. Because that actual contact surface as you're filing is like a little larger than the width of a pencil line, you need to move obliquely, very light touch, and crosshatch so that you cover the whole crown without flattening the radius. If you have a short, wide file, you have much less control. Next thing I want to talk about is the actual length of the file. So the length of this file covers 1/3 from the 12th fret to the last fret, from the 5th fret to the 12th fret. So at the top end we cover the distance from the 1st fret to the 5th. The next distance is from the 6th fret to the 12th fret, and our final distance covers the rest of the length of the fingerboard. So I guess this is my argument. When you have an 18-inch beam, 1 inch wide, you have no way of actually hitting the trouble spots. This shorter, narrower, single cut, very fine file with a light touch gives you way more control, and I'm going to demonstrate it on both of these refrets. We'll also be talking about the sanding blocks and how we create a compound radius on both of these Strats. Now in the case of this Strat, Paul logs in a lot of time on this Strat, and I've already done a couple of fret dresses on this since he first bought it. But he's a big electronics guy, does all his own electronics, pickups, push-pull pots, all of that stuff. But he's brought it to me because it's his #1 guitar and he wants to start fresh. And because the frets are coming out, we're going to take the opportunity to do a compound radius, which is what he wants. And you guys are going to get a front row seat on exactly how and why I use the approach and the tools I use to do this job flawlessly and consistently. Now with Gabe's Strat, it's a completely different story. It's essentially a new Strat that just never seemed quite right. He dressed the frets a few times and the radius is really disrupted on this one. After consulting with him, we thought the best thing is pull the frets, and once again the frets are going to be out, so we'll have the opportunity to do a compound radius, no extra charge. I'm leveling the fingerboard anyway, and we'll walk you through it step by step. Okay, out come the frets. I'm reaching under here. I don't normally do this, but I'm staying out of the way of the camera. So I've talked to both customers, and we're going to go with the 5590, 55 thou high and 90 thou wide. It's like a jumbo height, but just regular width. So we are going to make up the radius gauge to create the radius that we're going to be sanding into the fingerboards, as well as a radius gauge for the bridge. In this case, I'm just making my way to the center of the fingerboard radius, and then I'll come around the other side like I did on Gabe's Strat. Well, for any of you who watched that Strat rescue video from a couple of months ago, where one of the bridge posts had broken through to the pickup cavity, I had a bunch of people suggesting that you should have installed the machine threaded fasteners. Well, guess what, folks? This one has the machine threaded fasteners. And have a look at this. Like a lot of Strat guys, this customer has done a lot of his own work and had swapped out the pickups for the Kinman pickups. But as you can see, the metal threaded inserts didn't prevent this from happening. On this guitar, both sides busted through. So we're doing exactly the same fix we did last time, times two. Two 1-inch diameter maple dowels, and we will switch over to these much longer fasteners that will get a much deeper bite into the body. And that's the only solution. Once again, those threaded fasteners that everybody suggested, they didn't help this guitar one iota. And as always, you get a play-by-play. Stick around.